Right now, first responders closed down downtown Madison streets due to black smoke coming from underground. Also, we're following the aftermath of flash floods throughout southern Wisconsin. Plus, one of the state's most noted criminal defense attorneys has passed away. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Just to the east of us, it is estimated that in just the last 24 hours, over a foot of rain has fallen between Menominee Falls and Milwaukee. Flash flooding absolutely ravaging the city, leaving countless streets, cars and homes underwater, also leading to the final day of the state fair to be canceled. Here is the city's mayor on the devastating flash flooding.
We're seeing reports from some parts of the city that have received more than a foot of rain. This flooding event, it's very significant. It's something that Milwaukee hasn't seen in perhaps a decade or more. My heart goes out to everyone dealing with basement flooding, that have been dealing with power outages, damage to cars, having trees that were uprooted in and around their properties, and a list of other things that have happened as well.
Our thoughts are certainly with those impacted, but let's go ahead and get a look at your certified most accurate forecast with the meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze, we've seen some rainfall in our area as well.
That's right. You know, I just want to highlight that the Milwaukee area is still underneath a flood warning until 10 a.m. So if you commute to the Milwaukee area, if you've got friends or family just down the road from us, just let them know that they are still underneath that flood warning until 10 a.m. And a lot of our counties are still underneath that area flood watch until 7 a.m. But the good news is it does look like the line of showers and thunderstorms that moved out of Iowa has somewhat fallen apart, but we're still dealing with slow-moving heavy rain, not only near the Dells and up into parts of Juneau, Adams, Waushara, Marquette, and Green Lake counties, but I also want to highlight along 94 in the Jefferson County as well as Waukesha County area. More heavy showers along with a few flashes of lightning, not as widespread, but again, this is going to only add on top of the already wet conditions that we've seen over the last 24 to 48 hours. Speaking of that, let's take a look at some of the rain totals. Again, these are estimates, but I do want to highlight that in the Milwaukee area, it has been reported that almost 15 inches of rain has fallen in some parts of northwestern Milwaukee. And if that were to be the case, if that were to be verified, that would be the single rainiest day in Wisconsin's recorded history. I also want to quickly take you out to Grant County, which is where they had yet another flash flood warning in the Bosco Bell area where our Tenacia Shaw was earlier today. It's estimated that anywhere between 5, 6, 8 inches of rain has fallen, and they were the wettest county during the month of July. So in the full forecast, Jalen and folks at home, we're going to look at any more rain chances tonight, Monday, and into next week. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. We'll see you in just a bit. Storms taking over much of the state. And right now, there's a second round of storms after several inches of rain caused flooding this morning. A woman in Grant County is giving us a look at how the storms damaged her home. Our Tenacia Shaw has more.
To have my home just kind of crumble like that makes you realize what you have when you have it and when it's just taken away.
A weekend storm destroyed a big piece of what Susan Poole calls her lifelong investment.
I can't have house insurance because of my roof, and I can't get a loan because I have no credit. So this is just, it's heartbreaking.
Here's a look at rain taking over Bosco Bell Sunday morning. This storm took Poole's home from this to this in a matter of hours, destroying priceless family heirlooms. What was in here?
I lost a lot of my Christmas ornaments, which
probably were passed down.
A lot of them were passed down, and some of my precious moments that my parents gave me.
Just around the corner from Poole, one of her neighbors also had damage to their basement.
Oh, it's more flooding and more rain we have to clean up from the basements, and the roads, got to worry about the roads.
Now you're getting a look at the water line. You can see the grass and the wet branches building up near the top of this hill. Now I'm sitting 5'3", and as you can see, I'm still feet away from where the creek is supposed to be, truly letting you see how high the water was Sunday morning. As storms continue Sunday into Monday, Bosco Bell Fire Department is reminding everyone how to stay safe during floods.
You come across flooded streets, water across the streets, turn around, don't drown, because You know, any little bit of amount of water over a street, you don't know what's under it.
As Poole continues to pick up the pieces and fix her basement, she says the silver lining is that no one is hurt.
The kids and I are okay. Physically, we're all okay. Emotionally, we'll work through it.
Tanisha, thank you. And as these weather conditions continue, you can track the forecast for yourself on the First Warn weather app. It is hourly planners, road conditions, and even radar. You can download it for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC Weather. If you heard loud explosions in downtown Madison today, they were manhole covers sent up into the air, along with smoke and even flames. Madison fire officials and representatives from Madison Gas and Electric say an underground electrical issue is to blame. They shut off the power grid to respond, leaving hundreds without power for a few hours. Our Armand Rahman has the latest.
Individual building emergency alert systems and blown up manhole covers outside created alarm and some inconvenience on a Sunday afternoon and evening for residents in the area of West Washington, all the way as far as State Street.
Know what it is?
No. Green smoke coming out of a manhole cover, and then apparently it exploded, it shot the thing off.
Barb and Karen heard what that sounded like from their living rooms at the Capitol Lakes retirement community on Main Street.
All of a sudden we heard this incredibly loud noise that was not a car accident, but more like a really loud boom.
Kind of like dropping one of the huge garbage disposals from the fifth floor, one of the dumpsters, and just dropping it.
They say shortly after that jarring noise, the power went out.
Someone did get caught in the elevator.
The terraces in the healthcare center operate on a separate generator power, and they're fine.
Madison fire officials say an electrical issue underground sent danger up to the surface.
I believe we had some eyewitness reports of flames seen. This seemed to be involving underground electrical vault, so MG&E responded right away as well. So far, we have not had any reports of above ground hazards, so this has all been isolated and contained underground.
But the power grid was shut off for a few hours from West Wash and Langdon to Broome and Fairchild streets, causing more than an inconvenience for some residents and businesses farther away. Eli Rhodes works at State Street Brats.
We had power for about the first 15 minutes of me being there, and as soon as I threw the first burger down, the power went out. So that's definitely going to be a problem come tomorrow when the power comes back and we got to figure out all the food.
Madison fire officials say anyone with medical equipment that relies on power that may not be functioning should contact the fire department for resources. Reporting in downtown Madison, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
Armand, thank you. Most residents have had their power restored according to the MG&E outage map. A spokesperson says they will continue restoring service. There was no evidence of gas leaks due to the incident. One of the state's most noted criminal defense attorneys has passed away. Jessa Nicholson-Gates died suddenly earlier this week in her home in Middleton. Nicholson-Gates was a highly regarded trial attorney, taking on and winning complex cases. She was a vocal advocate of reforms in the criminal justice system. She was also a frequent contributor on News 3 Now and our newscast, explaining what was happening in high-profile cases. Jessa Nicholson-Gates was only 42 years old. To an update now, the Dane County Sheriff's Office reported it is continuing its investigation after a person was found dead in a manure pit in Sun Prairie on Saturday. The Sheriff's Office reported there is no indication of a threat to the public. DCSO reported the Dane County Medical Examiner will release the name of the deceased following the notification of their next of kin. A man is taken to the hospital following a lightning strike at the Emma Carlin Ice Age Trail in Palmyra. Crews responded to the trail and they searched multiple trails before two hikers were located approximately 1 mile off the roadway. A man was found semi-conscious with a pulse, and signs of a lightning strike were visible on a nearby tree. Fire officials determined that both hikers were in close proximity to a tree at the time of the strike. The lightning caused a ground current, which rendered both individuals unconscious. The woman that was with him regained consciousness first and was able to render aid to the man following a quick assessment. Both were safely taken from the scene. Today, the community came out to support the UW Health Carbone Cancer Center. Today's event at the Capitol Brewery in Middleton was to raise funds for pancreatic cancer research with a roll and stroll event. Pancreatic cancer accounts for 8.5% of all cancer deaths, according to the National Cancer Institute. Starting at 8:30 this morning, an expected 700 participants chose between multiple biking and running events, but they had to move it inside due to the weather that we had here in southern Wisconsin. The event had to make adjustments, of course, but it was all for a good cause.
You know, this event's not just about raising money. It's about bringing the people in the community together, our survivors, our caregivers, the task force, and community volunteers. So we want to be able to create a space for support and community.
The Carbone Cancer Center is attempting to raise $150,000 this year. Coming up next on News 3 Now at 10, Blaze returns with a complete look of your First One forecast. Plus, the latest in Gaza as the humanitarian crisis continues. Plus, President Trump is set to have a summit with Vladimir Putin on Friday. How another member may be joining them.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you for staying with us. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is defending his decision to keep fighting in Gaza. This despite protests at home and abroad. CBS's Deborah Pat is in East Jerusalem with the latest.
Amid growing condemnation at home and abroad, Prime Minister Netanyahu defended the expansion of the war into Gaza City and Al-Mawasi, where hundreds of thousands of Palestinians face yet another forced evacuation. He lashed out at what he called a global campaign of lies that Israel was deliberately starving Palestinians.
And the international press has bought hook, line, and sinker Hamas statistics, Hamas claims, Hamas forgeries, and Hamas photographs.
But Israel has refused foreign media entry into Gaza.
Firstly, why is Israel not allowing foreign journalists into Gaza to report independently?
I've ordered, directed the military to bring in foreign journalists, more foreign journalists, a lot.
It's unclear if this means the media will still be under Israeli military control. For 22 months, the burden of documenting the war has fallen on Palestinian journalists inside Gaza. Over 200 have been killed. Veteran Israeli hostage negotiator Gershon Baskin told us there is still a 2-week window to negotiate a ceasefire before Israel launches its new operation.
It has to be prevented. There are already war crimes that have been committed in Gaza by Israel. We're talking about war crimes on steroids.
So who is stopping a deal?
Well, until now, it has been mostly Netanyahu. President Trump needs to tell Netanyahu, I said for many months, I want this war to end. End it. Do it.
Deborah Patter, CBS News, East Jerusalem.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is now hiring people over 40. Homeland Security says it needs thousands more deportation agents. So it is removing previous age restrictions and opening up its doors to applicants of all ages, including seniors. The agency's recruitment website features Uncle Sam with a tagline that says, quote, America has been invaded by criminals and predators. We need you to get them out. President Trump's face-to-face meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin is slated to get underway on Friday in Alaska. The White House has indicated the president is open to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky being included in the talks. CBS News' Willie James Inman has more.
Later this week, President Trump is scheduled to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss a possible end to the war in Ukraine, but much remains up in the air. Among the unanswered questions, what role will Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky play in Friday's talks in Alaska? On Saturday, CBS News confirmed the Trump administration is open to including Zelensky in Friday's summit with President Putin. On Sunday's Face the Nation, Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S. Oksana Markarova suggested President Zelensky is ready and willing to be there.
With regard to President Zelensky, he has been, since day one of this horrible aggression, committed to peace, and we have shown that he is ready to be anywhere to advance the agenda of peace. So if needed, President Zelensky, of course, will be present at the meetings.
Over the weekend, several European leaders issued a statement saying a path to peace in Ukraine cannot be decided without Ukraine. President Trump indicated on Friday that any peace deal with Russia and Ukraine may involve a swap of territory.
Looking at territory that's been fought over for 3.5 years, we're actually looking to get some back and some swapping.
President Zelensky said Saturday his country will, quote, not give land to the occupier.
My absolute conviction on Friday is that this is President Trump making sure that Putin is serious. And if he is not, then it will stop there. If he is serious, then from Friday onwards, the process will continue. Ukraine getting involved, the Europeans being involved.
The weekend developments with Ukraine come after Vice President J.D. Vance met with Ukrainian and European officials in Britain on Saturday. Willie James Inman, CBS News, the White House.
Let's get a look at your first one forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze, lots going on today.
That's right. We're coming off the heels of possibly Wisconsin's rainiest 24 hours, at least in the Milwaukee area. Single rainiest day possible with over 14 inches of rain being picked up. And we're still going to be dealing with scattered showers and thunderstorms the further east you live tonight. Further to the west, not as heavy rain and likely going to be more cloudy with a little bit of fog as temperatures settle only into those mid to upper 60s or the low 70s. We're looking at more rain chances on Monday, especially across the southeast, but we also are looking out to Wednesday. That's when we look to kind of dry out for the most part across southern Wisconsin. So here's Radar 3000. This is over the last 3 hours. Look at how lack of movement there has been. These showers and thunderstorms have not moved a whole lot over the last 3 hours. And I'll talk about why that contributes to these heavy rain events in just a moment. But let's pause and take it into some of the areas still dealing with some of this ongoing rain. Stretching from Poinette all the way north into Montello and even further up there into parts of Waushara County. Moderate rain showers, a couple lightning strikes popping up there in just south of Montello. We continue off towards the south and the west into Darlington, Shullsburg, Gratiot, Argyle, Blanchardville. This is continuing to push off towards the northeast. No lightning, but again, anywhere between 1 to 2 inches of rain is going to be possible because these storms are moving slowly and they're hitting areas not only hit today and this evening, but that were hit by showers and thunderstorms last night. Beloit, Janesville, into the Footville area. Showers coming out of northern Illinois. We also find a line of showers and thunderstorms pretty much parallel to 94, stretching from Whitewater back into Pewaukee, which again, those areas picking up maybe 10 or so inches of rain. They don't need any more rain. And over the last 6 hours, that slow-moving line of showers and thunderstorms dropping anywhere between 3 inches of rain outside of Platteville to maybe an inch just there outside of Dodgeville. Anybody in the blues, the purples, and especially these dark purples and reds, that's where we're getting into that 1.5 inch to 2 inches of rain. Just over the last 6 hours, on top of the rain that we already received yesterday, which is on top of the rain that we picked up all throughout July. We don't need any more rain, certainly not to this level. And the line of showers and thunderstorms is going to slowly push off towards the east as we go overnight into the start of Monday. Because this front is slow moving, we'll likely see redevelopment stretching from southeastern Wisconsin all the way back to maybe parts of Rock County, Greene County, really hugging the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. I don't necessarily want you to focus on these numbers because we are already seeing numbers that are above this, but I want you to focus on the fact that these are hitting areas going north and east instead of straight east. So this is happening, what we call this is training is what I meant to say there. So areas are just continuously getting hit. And that's part of the reason why we see these heavy rain events. We have been sitting underneath a very moisture-rich atmosphere. Warmer air holds more water. We've also been dealing with slow-moving or stalled out cold fronts, stationary fronts, or just weather systems in general. They are raining themselves out. We have 2 inches of precipitable water overhead. So if you were to essentially wring the atmosphere like a wet towel, we'd get 2 inches of water across a lot of southern Wisconsin. You add on top of that, as I mentioned, already wet soil and infrastructure like drains that just really can't keep up with this heavy rain. That's the reason why we get this flash flooding. why we get these heavy rain events. So the good news is it does look like this all kind of pushes out of here by Wednesday, maybe an isolated shower or two, but compared to what we've certainly seen over the last 24 hours, I don't see that in the forecast Tuesday onwards. So we'll be able to dry out here, which is some good news.
I'm sure there's a lot of people hearing that just now that's relief because
yes.
Last 24 hours, as we well know.
Yes. And again, during heavy rain events, the best thing you can do is turn around, don't drown, and of course have the News 3 Now First Warn Weather app.
Yeah.
Follow us on social media. We'll push those updates directly to you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze. Coming up in sports, hear from Packers head coach Matt LaFleur on how the team can bounce back after a tough loss. Football season is back. Last night, the Packers opened up the preseason at home at Lambeau against the New York Jets. Now, it wasn't a night to forget, but it was definitely less than desirable. The first team offense sputtered. Jordan Love just going 1 for 5 on the night, and the team was only able to score 10 points total through 4 quarters. They'd eventually go on to lose 30-10 to the New York Jets. Here's head coach Matt LaFleur on how the Packers can improve.
Yes, but there's a lot of things that we absolutely need to clean up. I guess the encouraging thing is that I feel like a lot of these corrections, I mean, we can correct, but we have to go do it, and we have to be urgent about that. So, you know, it wasn't great, but you got to live and you got to learn and you got to move on.
And despite the flooding, the Brewers still able to play their game against the Mets. The Crew down 5 at one point, but things would really start to turn at the bottom of the 5th. William Contreras at the plate, and he would go yard with a 2-run bomb to cut the score to 1. And later at the bottom of the 8th, Mets still up, but that would change. Joey Ortiz would hit a shot down the right field, bringing in Bryce Terang. Now the game is tied at 6 apiece. Then in the bottom of the 8th, you probably heard this one before, Isaac Collins at the plate, and he would turn it into magic. He hits a solo walk-off home run to win the game 7-6. Can you believe it? Crew win it in spectacular fashion to win their 9th straight. And that's it for sports. A final check of your First Warn forecast is coming up when we return.
All right, planning your Monday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms possible, especially in the morning hours here. But I think that transitions over to more of southeastern Wisconsin by the afternoon. We will see a little bit more sunshine to end Monday. Showers stick around to Tuesday, then we dry out Wednesday through the upcoming weekend.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze, and thank you all for joining us. Seinfeld is up next. News for Now this morning starts at 4:30.